Interface Video presents Fairhope Hospice Today. Brought to you by Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.
Hello, welcome to Fairhope Hospice Today. I'm Kristen Glazier, President and CEO at Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, home of the Pickering House. And today is a pretty special session for me. We are here at the Pickering House in our kids' room, so it's just a really lovely setting for the kids to come in and spend some time away from the room if they need a break. But it's National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, starting in November. And I was able to talk with some of our staff and ask them to come in and just spend a couple minutes with us telling us why they're here, why hospice is important to them, and why Fairhope is important to them. And so I'm really excited about it. I will tell you, we've got some nerves in the room from some of the staff because they like to be out in the community doing what they do best, working here, providing all the care they do. So for them to be here with me today is really special. It's a big ask. So we're going to get started with our first staff member. So, hello, Kelly.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
I know that we've talked about this for a little bit, so thank you very much for taking some time. And it's funny because Kelly said to me, "Okay, I'll do it, but I've got 2 minutes. I've got patients that are waiting." So we're going to get started. So I just wanted you to share. Just tell me your name, how long you've been here with Fairhope.
My name is Kelly Van Scoy, and I have been here for about 2 years.
Okay. Boy, time is flying. So what brought you to Fairhope?
Well, I have a history of doing hospice work at other facilities. I had retired, and I was retired for about 4 or 5 years, and I got a little bored. So I decided to come back to work, and this was the place I wanted to work at.
Wow, I don't think I knew that you had retired and come back. Thank goodness. Thank goodness you got bored for us. You do such a great job with our families and just really communicating and being there for our families. So we're really, really fortunate to have you. So can you tell me why you feel passionate about hospice care? Like what makes you come to work every day? You said you retired and you came back. So tell me what your passion is.
People say, when I say that I'm a hospice nurse, almost across the board, people will say to me, "I don't know how you could do that job. That's just, it's a special person that could do that job." And I always want to say to them, it's, if you knew my job, if you actually did my job, you would see it as a blessing because I get the opportunity to go into people's homes and to wherever they're living, their living space. Sometimes it's a nursing home. And I get to see what's really important to them in a time when they are very vulnerable and their facades are down and they're just being real, genuine people. Yeah. I get to help them through whatever issues they're going through so that they can finish living their life. And it's an honor and a blessing to be able to do that. I could not do that without having amazing management here. We really have wonderful staff and management that allows me to do that job well. And I can't really say that about other hospices that I've worked at. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. We work really hard. We've been here in the community for 41 years, and the things that you say are the things that we do every day, like just figuring out what's most important to our patients and families, but then allowing them to go through this very, difficult time. We have one chance to do this right, and I feel like every nurse and staff member that we have really understand that. So I think you're right. What we do every day is really special. It does take a special person, but also it's a gift. It's a gift that we can give every day.
Yes.
So, okay. Any story that you would like to share? Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for taking a couple
My
minutes,
honor.
and I'll let you go and get on your way. Thank you. Our next staff member that has joined us today is Lori Bell Fulton. Hi, Lori.
Hi, Kristen.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit about your position here at Fairhope?
So I do admissions and on-call. So I go out and do consults. I meet with patients and families. I tell them about hospice and the services we provide. I tell them about our interdisciplinary team, and I kind of paint a picture of the help we can provide. I try to ease their anxiety about thinking hospice means the end and show them that it really doesn't mean that. It means more help, it means more support, that kind of thing. Yeah. And the on-call portion is when families call in and they need something right away. Our team will go out and assist them.
Yeah, I think what you said is just really important about the fact that we have on call, and so it's not just about signing some paperwork, joining Fairhope. We don't let them go through this alone. We are always there for them.
That's right.
So I'm going to ask you how many years you've been here, but you have done a little bit of everything at Fairhope. Tell us.
Okay.
Wait, how many years has it been?
Almost 12.
Okay.
So I started off, I worked at Pickering House my first year. I knew I wanted to do a kind of nursing where I could, I like the holistic part about hospice. I like getting to know the patients a little bit better, not just their medical history, but knowing all about them. So I worked at Pickering House the first year and really got a good understanding, a good grasp on hospice, but I've always been more of a nurse that likes to be out in the community. So I moved over to case managing. I've been a case manager on and off probably 4 or 5 times. I've worked in palliative care, which I loved, and I did education manager for a period of time, but I missed patient care, so I didn't stay in that role for too long.
I think it's really neat that you've touched on all the avenues, and especially now that you've done all those things, when you go out and talk to a new patient at the hospital or wherever they are, you can say, here's what I know about the Pickering House. Here's what I know about palliative care if you're not quite ready for hospice. So I think you have just run the whole gamut, which is so nice. And it talks a lot about just, I think, our culture and what Fairhope is. When we have someone like you that's been here for 12 years, it just really solidifies what we do in the community and makes us that much stronger. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for letting me be versatile. That's been one of the great things about working at Fairhope is I've always had support from management, from my team. If I need to make a little change or a shift for a certain period of life, they've always been willing to accommodate that, and it's a two-way street, and I've loved every minute of working here.
I'm so glad to hear that. Is there anything, it sounds like, I mean, you've kind of explained it, like, to me, hospice is your passion, but is there something that you do in your day-to-day that is very, you're very passionate about?
I love, well, since I do a lot of admissions now, I love meeting with the families. A lot of times they're very emotionally not in a good place.
Right.
And so I kind of see it as my goal and my challenge to put everybody at ease, to find some joy in the whole situation, the time, explain what we do. Really what we do is just, we're extra help, we're support, we come alongside them. And so just to kind of set the stage for, we're not here for anything negative. We're here to bring more positive, more quality of life, more joy. When you're anxious, when you're not sure what to do, we're here. We're always just a phone call away, 24 hours a day, which I think is amazing. There's just, you can call us anytime, day or night. How many places can tell people that?
Very few, very few. And our staff are just as good first thing in the morning as they are at 3 o'clock in the morning. So
that's right. That's right.
Is there any story, anything that you'd like to share?
Well, I pondered that one for a long time.
Okay.
And I'm not always one that I don't write down stories. I don't think deeply about, every story. But when I was thinking about it, and one that was moving to me, even though it was very emotional. Sometimes we have patients who are a little bit younger, and I had a dad, and he was probably in his early 40s, and he had 4 teenage children. And he had cancer, so he was having a pretty serious pain crisis. He was near the end. And so I spent the afternoon at his house with his family. And I would go in and we'd increase his medicine. I'd call the doctor. We had to do that several times. We finally got him comfortable, and I said, I want you guys to have this special time together. I'm going to take a chair and I'll sit. There was a little landing up outside the bedroom, so I'll just sit in the landing. I've got my computer. And I thought, what can I do to kind of bring some joy, some beauty to this horribly sad time? So I said, why don't you all just gather around your dad and spouse, and each of you tell him what you love most about him. And so I could hear that conversation going on from my little chair out in the landing, and I thought, oh, this is so beautiful. And despite how sad this is, I could sit and cry all day, but this is beautiful, and this is something they'll always have.
Oh my goodness.
Memories. So that's my little story.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for thinking to do that in that moment. It's hard to teach, the nurses or the aides or anybody, social workers, chaplains will say, well, what do I do when this happens? And it's hard to teach that because every situation is so different. Like you're thinking, what can I do? What can I do? You've done all the other nursing things. Now what's left? So thank you for that. That's what makes Fairhope, what we are, and it makes you who you are. So thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome. Our next staff member that's joining us today is Becky Hinkle. Hi, Becky.
Hi.
Now, I will tell you, and you'll hear this when you walk in the Pickering house, is that Becky always says, hi, I'm your favorite. And a lot of people agree with that. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So I want to start with, it's so hard to describe what you do here, but let's start with how long have you been here with Fairhope?
12 years.
Okay. Well, that's the same as Lori, who was just here.
We were in the same orientation.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So I want you just to describe a little bit about your day-to-day and what you do here at Fairhope.
Okay. Well, I answer the phones. Okay. So if you call and I answer, you'll know who you're talking to.
The favorite.
The favorite, of course. I order all the supplies, and if families come and look like they're having a rough time, I'll go talk to them for a little bit. And just whatever they throw my way, I go ahead and do. I do the NOTA program, which
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I love the NOTA program. If we have a patient that has no family or anybody, we have a volunteer to come and sit with them. And it's really neat to hear their stories afterwards. If they're there when they actually pass, it's really neat to hear some of their stories. Yeah.
And that's not something, that happens mostly through the evening, in nighttime hours. And our staff let you know that someone is alone and they're nearing end of life, and can you find somebody to stay with them? And you just have a knack. We have great volunteers.
We do. But
you have a knack with just finding the right person to go be with them. And then you're right, to hear those stories, that's pretty cool. Pretty
There's
impressive.
Some amazing volunteers.
Mm-hmm. And NOTA means that no one dies alone. And that program has been with Fairhope for, oh my gosh, started at the hospital. And we've just kind of taken it over. Okay. The other thing that you do is you help an awful lot with coordination and the volunteers, and just, I'm not sure there's anything you don't do.
Windows.
You don't do
Windows.
You don't do Windows. Okay, good to know. Good to know. But Becky, you're just the voice and the face that when we walk in, and not only are you like that with the patients and families, but you're like that with the staff. You always know when a staff member's in need. You always know when someone is having a rough time, and we really count on you and appreciate the fact that you bring light to our day, because sometimes it's hard to do that. We have a heavy job, we do. You're always at the Pickering house here. So the things that you do are endless, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
What makes you so passionate about being here and staying here?
I had a family member here, and the way that our family was treated and approached was absolutely amazing, as you know. I think you have a special tool when you hire people, that's a special hospice kind of person, because it was amazing. Even though it was a sad experience, it was a good experience.
Good.
That's why I came here.
And you just stay. You've been here 12 years. Mm-hmm. I love that. Yep. Any particular story you want to share? I'm sure. I've been here 9 years. You've been here 12. You have a million. Is there any one that you want to share?
I have one that sticks out in my head. We had a patient that his home was a cabin, and he came in the Pickering house for his final days, and he kept hanging on. People kept coming to see him. They wasn't sure what was, keeping him going. Mm-hmm. And someone said he wants to be at home. He wants to be outside. And so the Pickering house manager goes, let's take him outside. And we wheeled his bed and all down to the gazebo, and within about 5 minutes he passed.
Wow.
And it was really neat to be there and see that.
And really to know, without being spoken, to know what he wants, and somebody will say he wants to be outside. So we have where we are now, we have a beautiful doors that open, and we're able to take those beds out.
Bed, yeah.
It's cement. We take them down to the gazebo or the shelter house there, and so it's really just a beautiful gift for our patients. Yeah.
It was neat.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for being here and
thanks
doing
for having me
today. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you
Thank you. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you for watching today on Fairhope Hospice Today. We want everyone to feel comfortable and safe, that you pick up that phone, you make that phone call, and let us just guide you and lead you where you want. And then you can make an informed decision about what's best for you and your family.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
I can actually dream again, because there's things I was figuring I was going to give up being able to do. And one of the things I love to do is I love to go in the canal sites, the old canal sites where the locks are, climbing up and down and stuff. I can do that again. I feel like there's nothing I can't do.
Greetings from Fairfield DD. As we embrace the back-to-school season, we welcome the arrival of autumn and our cherished fall customs. Join us for Football Friday nights and the county fair. While you revel in the colorful season, let's also reflect on the positive changes we aspire to witness. At Fairfield DD, our goal is to foster a vibrant community where individuals lead lives of greater independence and make meaningful contributions. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram to discover more about our unwavering commitment to the community.
At Fairfield Federal, we believe true prosperity is shared. For 130 years, Fairfield Federal has invested in the community that built us. From supporting businesses that employ our neighbors, empowering the initiatives that strengthen our community, and serving generations of families, Fairfield Federal is proud to share this milestone of progress with our hometown. Fairfield Federal is your place for checking, savings, and home loans. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 402612.
Welcome back to Fairhope Hospice Today. I'm Kristen Glazier, President and CEO of Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and today for our show we are celebrating November is National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, and so I thought what better way than to bring you some of our staff that work here with us at Fairhope in the community, in the buildings, in the Pickering House. And so our first segment, we met with a few of our staff members. We're going to finish out with a few more, but right now I have with me Sarah, who is one of our social workers. Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I know it's been so funny to have some of the staff in here because they're saying, this is not what I do. I want to go be with the family. So I said, I promise you it'll just be a couple minutes. But I think it's really important for the people that are watching to understand what we do and what types of different things we do. So I want you to tell me, how long have you been here with us?
Just a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just tell me a little bit about how you ended up here at Fairhope as a social worker.
Yeah, I wasn't looking. I knew the position was open, but I kept getting signs. I felt like I would be in the grocery store and overhear people say Fairhope, and I had saw the sign, and I thought, you know what, maybe that's where I'm supposed to be.
Wow.
So I went for it, and here I am.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
I love that, because someone earlier that we were talking to said, you know, it really, like, you have to have a special tool to pick out the staff that work here. You know, we do a lot of interviews and we talk to a lot of people, but it's just sort of like something clicks and you know when that right fit is. And you were definitely a right fit for us.
Thank you.
So, so tell me just a little bit about your day to day and, you know, what really makes you passionate about what you do. Because it's not easy. I'm a social worker, you know, in my other life and still kind of now, but it's not easy what we do every day. So tell me a little bit about what makes you stay and what you're passionate about.
Definitely. I love being part of the care team that gets to go into patient and families' homes. I think that human connection is one of the most powerful forces, and to be that for a patient and a family in some of their darkest days, and provide that emotional support and just to know they are not alone. They have a safety net, whether that's being able to call someone, just say today's been a hard day, or to call and talk about funny memories and things that help kind of distract them from what's going on and focus on some of the good times. Those are things that are just so important. I don't think you can put a price on that.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially as we approach end of life. Like Lori had said earlier, you try to find that one thing. You've done your social work skills. They've done their nursing skills. They've gotten the patient comfortable. So now what else can we do? What kind of joy can we bring? But I think the cool thing that you talked about really was the team approach. Because, you know, we don't want our patients to feel alone. They've got this whole team. But then I also feel like internally, you have a team. You know, you have your supervisor, but you have your nursing staff that you work with. And so you're not alone either.
No, we really are. We come together, like I said, and be that safety net. I absolutely love our nurses. I've been at end of life visits with our nurses, and to see the love and the care, I think they really do care for these patients as if it was their own family. So to have that and to be part of that team and to make this lasting impact on families, I think is just so important.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I love that you recognize that. And I really think that's what has helped us to be in this community for 41 years. Is we have the best staff, volunteers, and employees, and you know, we're just gonna keep doing what we do every day.
Absolutely.
Any stories you'd like to share?
Oh, so many in the time I've been here, but one that, and I'll try not to cry because I do every time I think about it. We have some amazing volunteers that did a VA pinning for one of our patients, and I got to partake in that and to pin our patient, and to just see them light up and to have such a wonderful moment. That meant so much to him, and I don't think there is a dry eye in that house when that happened. I think of him pretty much daily, and that moment just flashes in my mind quite often.
That's good. How special it was to him. And November is our, you know, we honor our veterans in November, and we have a great program that we do honor all of the veterans that choose to be recognized, and it's so important. And I've been in those rooms when we've done that, and it is really something special.
Yes, most definitely.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next staff member joining us today is Chaplain Naomi. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So tell us your name and what you do here.
My name is Naomi, and I am one of our 3 chaplains. And
how long have you been here with us?
Oh gosh, since about 5 years. I came right before COVID. January of 2020.
Okay. Wow, I can't believe it's been 5 years.
I know.
Oh, well, tell me a little bit. You have so much experience, and you know we so value our chaplains. But tell me just a little bit about what brought you to Fairhope.
Well, what brought me to hospice in the first place and what got me looking for a hospice chaplain job was that when we lived in Washington State, I did some, I worked with people that received in-home care. And one of the things that I noticed was that a lot of times they could no longer get to church. And they would kind of go downhill, and then hospice would come in, and that hospice chaplain would come in, and it would just change completely. They'd go from kind of declining and feeling neglected and alone to almost thriving again once hospice came in. And many of them pointed to that hospice chaplain piece. And I had been a pastor before that, so I really perked up to that and really felt called then to hospice chaplaincy specifically. And so when we moved out here to Ohio, I kind of started looking around for an opportunity to do hospice chaplaincy and was so excited to join the Fairhope team, and am just so grateful that God called me here.
Good. That's a really interesting story, because it's almost like you know, some people, as they tell their story, they'll say, well, I had a loved one here, or it's just been on my mind. But you were very poignant in the fact that you saw that difference that it made from the very beginning, and then kind of formed your plan or your journey from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's really neat. I know it's funny when you first started and you came, and you said you started in January. I remember us talking about the weather, and we were all complaining. You said, listen, I'm from Washington State.
Not the west side where it rains all the time either. I was from the east side where it snows all the time.
And you said, this is nothing here. So, so we talked about how you got here, but why are you passionate about what you do? Other than what you just said, like every day when you come to work, what are you passionate about?
It's just a real privilege to be able to walk this journey with people. One of the other things I noticed is we tend to say, if I die, and it's not an if, it's a when. And so many people are afraid to walk that journey with people, but it's such an honor, and it's a privilege, and it's just a joy every day to be invited into people's homes and to be able to walk that spiritual journey of those last days, months, weeks, years even sometimes, and just to be with people as they experience that transition into a new way of being.
Yeah, it's such a gift, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. And you know, everybody knows that hospice provides the nurse and the aide and the social worker, but then you say a chaplain, and some people will say, well, I'm not spiritual, I don't have a home church, and I don't have this. But we're talking about National Hospice Month, and one of the things that it states is that we treat the body, mind, and the soul, and that's so right. And I can't tell you how many times as a social worker working with hospice that you see, okay, they're comfortable. Their family have all been in. You know, they've got a nice bath. The nurses have got them comfortable. What are they holding on for? And we think, okay, we need a chaplain. And sometimes it's just the prayer that you give. Maybe it's something that they really need to discuss with a chaplain to clear their mind, to clear their soul, whatever that might be. So you get some really private, personal time.
We
with
do
those
sometimes. And a lot of times it's not the patients that are struggling as much as the family.
Good point. Sometimes
the patients are okay. They know that they're going to pass. They've come to terms with it. But the family isn't ready to let go. And as you said, we do get a lot of people saying, oh, I don't need a chaplain because I'm not spiritual, I'm not religious, I'm not Christian. But we're not just there for those who are spiritual, who are Christians. We're there for all people of all faiths and all different places in their life. And we really see that our job is to meet people right where they are. And when I was taking classes in how to be a chaplain, because those are out there, and I took some classes in that, one of the things that they did was they defined spirituality as what brings meaning into your life.
I love that.
And so that is much more than going to a church or being religious. It's what brings meaning into your life. So we get to have a lot of conversations about what brings meaning into people's lives. And a lot of times it is family. But for some people it is being out in nature, or and so getting to find creative ways to help people continue to find that meaning is really exciting and something that I really love doing. It's easy if what brings meaning into their life is prayer or spiritual music. That's easy for me, and I do that every day. But that's not everyone.
Right.
Sometimes it's going to a football game or talking about hunting or any of those many different things that do bring meaning into our life.
And I think the important thing to know is, and we always talk about this with the chaplains, is you're meeting them where they are. It's not your agenda, it's where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we always, one of the things when I introduce myself and my role is I always say, my visit looks like what you need it to look like.
Oh.
Because it's not about me.
Right.
It's about what you need.
Right.
So I have one patient who he wants to have a sing-along, which is always something that I laugh about when people want to have a sing-along, because God did not gift me with any sort of musical talent.
Okay.
So I bring with me my iPhone, and I bring just different church music on my phone, and that's how we can make a sing-along, because if it was up to me, it wouldn't be happening. And then I also have, I had one patient who just, what brought meaning to her life was that she loved to watch the Reds, but she never wanted to watch them alone. Aww. And so she asked if I could come and watch the Reds with her. And so that was what she wanted our visits to be, is watching the Reds. And now I couldn't watch an entire game with her.
Yeah.
But I could certainly stop by when they were playing and watch a little bit with her, and we could talk baseball and talk about how her Reds were doing. Yeah. And then I'd usually say a prayer and head on out. But
see, you met her where she was.
It
was what she needed.
Everybody
needs somebody to watch the Reds with, you know.
Apparently.
So. Thank you so much for being here today and kind of sharing that with us. I appreciate it. And we're glad you're here with us at Fairhope.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next staff member that's joining us today here at the Pickering House is Tara Stratton. Hi, Tara.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I told them earlier today that I asked a lot of different staff members to come, and they all said, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And I said, this has been such a fun show, because I don't often get to just have good one-on-one time with you guys. And so I think our viewers are really going to enjoy just hearing what you guys have to add. And so so far today, we've had a lot of clinical staff. Mm-hmm. You have a different role here, so tell me a little bit about your role.
So I work in the background. I'm down in the billing department.
Okay.
And I specifically bill Medicare hospice claims.
Okay.
But I do a little bit of everything else with palliative and.
Okay. How long have you been here with us?
I'm coming up on 8 years in January.
Oh my goodness! Everybody's telling me that, and I cannot believe it.
I know. I love it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so with that being said, how did you end up here with us at Fairhope?
So I worked at a local family physician's office before.
Okay.
And we had a community educator come in from Fairhope, and she was amazing. She taught us a lot of things. She had RNs come in. We had a lot of education.
Okay.
And I really had no clue about hospice, but she taught us a lot, and I thought that was really cool. So when a position opened up here, I had never done billing before. I had worked in insurance, but never billing.
Okay.
So I learned a totally new job.
Okay.
And I've learned a lot, and I love it.
You've done a great job.
Oh,
You've grown so much in 8 years, and you do a super job.
Yep.
I mean, so people that are watching this are thinking, okay, so what are you billing? Like, why are you billing? How does hospice get paid? Can you talk a little bit about the billing piece of that you have to handle?
Yeah, so Medicare has a lot of guidelines, and that's one of our biggest payers. Okay. And so we bill over an admission. Anytime an admission comes in, I have to let Medicare know who's here.
Okay.
And then same with private insurance and Medicaid and things like that. But we bill out a daily rate of what hospice covers, and
allows.
Then it allows.
Yeah.
And then hospice or Medicare will pay back, or the insurance will pay back what they owe. And whatever is not, if there's a balance, like a copay, a deductible, coinsurance, we try to do everything we can so that that's the last thing that the patient has to worry about is a bill. And Yeah.
So we know that we have to sometimes send that bill, and those hospice bills are kind of few and far between.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But we also know that the great donations that we get from our wonderful community can help with that if we have a family or a patient's family who is really not able to meet that cost. So they can always reach out and we help them. You guys, your department helps them through that.
Yeah, that's one of the roles that I have, is to process a financial hardship form. So again, we don't want anyone to have to struggle with that. That's the last thing we want people to worry about. So fill that form out, send it in, I process it, and then the rest is there.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know, I think something that I really wanted you to talk about too today, that I don't know if you realize or a lot of people realize, is that you are one of those staff members that do whatever we need, whatever we ask, whatever we need, whether it's in the billing department, whether it's you're so involved with our employee relations group. And you know, it's important to us that we have such a good culture and we keep our staff members, you know, what we do is hard, and so the things that you guys create, employee relations, really helps kind of lighten that mood, keeps us together as a Fairhope family, which is so important. But I love to see you and your family and your girls. Everything that we do, it feels like you're involved in. Like, what does that do for you?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, I love it. That really sparks a lot of joy in me to help out. And again, like you said, I do like to help wherever I'm needed. I can do whatever. Yeah. So employee relations, like you said, the clinical staff, especially people who are one-on-one with the patients, they go through a lot. And I don't get to see that, or could even see that. I couldn't do that job. So if we can provide some fun for some people, a little levity and like enjoyment, if it's a potato bar or popsicles on a hot day, like that's a lot of fun. I like to do that.
And I love that you do that. You know, you're always at the parades with us. Halloween, you were here. And so I think that's just really a gift that you bring to Fairhope. And I'm thankful for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any story, anything you want to share?
I don't have a story, but one of my favorite things to do is on the Celebrate Life team. I like being a part of that. And because that does correlate directly to my job, we have a lot of givers in this community and a lot of helpful people. And if we didn't have the people in this community to donate towards the Memorial Fund, our job would be a lot harder.
Yeah, it really would.
For people to not have to worry about that on their shoulders for families and patients, that's really cool.
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
And thank you for saying that, because the Fairhope Celebrates Life is our big event that we have, our fundraiser, our biggest fundraiser of the year. And so you're an integral part in that. Like we already have our meetings were started, you know, so it's a year-long process.
It's a lot of planning. Yeah,
we're glad to have you there.
Yeah, I'm glad to be there.
All right, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next staff member is Christina Kennedy. We're going to take a second to talk about her job and her role here at Fairhope. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Thank you for being here with me today.
Of course.
I was talking earlier about all the different staff that we've had in, and all of them say, I don't want to be here in the camera. Like, I'm more comfortable out in my role and doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's so important, though, for people that are watching the show to just really understand all the different pieces that it takes to run Fairhope. And so tell me about your role here.
I'm one of our admission navigators with Fairhope. Any referral that comes in from the community, different facilities, physicians' offices, hospital, comes across our desk. And we evaluate the clinical information, reach out to the families, get patients scheduled for consults, and we arrange our admission nurses to go out and do an evaluation.
Okay, to kind of see if they're appropriate for hospice or palliative. Maybe they're appropriate, but they're not quite ready, psychologically or emotionally.
Yep.
So how long have you been with us?
A little over a year.
That's what I thought. So I think, well, let's talk about this. What brought you here to Fairhope?
Had several loved ones come through Fairhope.
Okay.
And just the amazing care.
Were they here at the Pickering House? Were they at home?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Fairhope staff was absolutely amazing. And it's the culture of Fairhope.
Okay.
Everyone is so kind and so loving. They treat patients like they're one of their family members. We're just a big family here. So
I love that you say that. Thank you. And thank you for sharing that, because the one thing that we always talk about too is when someone comes to Fairhope to apply for a job or a position, like, you know when you have the right fit, because that person is coming here for a reason. You know, they've been touched by something that Fairhope has done. And so thank you for sharing the reason that, you know, that you're here.
And it's nice because Fairhope is we have a lot of employees, but it is a smaller organization. Everybody knows everybody. A lot of us know each other's family members, kids' names. We have our employee relations, that we do a lot of things for staff and for employees' families. So it's just nice because it's not, especially for staff members' children, it's not mom and dad just going to work. They're kind of involved in that.
They become a part of that family. And, you know, I think that that's so important that you talk about that, because we are considered a big company, big agency, but it feels small.
It does.
Like, it just feels small. And what we do every day is really hard. Obviously, you know, just talking about it triggers a lot of things. And for us to be able to have that release of just having our family, you know, my husband's a volunteer, my son has been around here, and so for us just to know each other, you do your job, you come in, you do your job, but when you leave, we want you to spend that time with your family, because doing this job really helps us to understand the importance of that. So thank you for talking about like the culture that we have here and the closeness that we have as a family, because I think that spills over into what we do every day.
It does.
I think something that you're not giving yourself credit for is the fact that your department, you and Michelle and Stacy, you're the first voice that people hear. So oftentimes we get calls when they're wherever they're coming from. Oftentimes it's from a hospital physician. Well, a lot of times it's families.
It is.
You know, and when they're calling, and we always say the hardest thing to do is to make that phone call, that first call. And some people say, I need help, I don't know what I need. Then you have to, you're like sort of like a detective, or, you know, someone that's saying, okay, so tell me who we're talking about. What is it that you need? You know, so you have to be, I mean, what makes you keep coming back and doing that every day? What are you passionate about when you think about coming to work?
Everything about Fairhope. I mean, the relationships that I've developed with coworkers, relationships I've developed with.
It's okay. When you leave at the end of the day, do you feel like you've made a difference?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I don't think that every job makes you feel like that, but when you leave here at the end of the day, because you can see, it's not just about the numbers, but you can see, I helped 3 families today. They're going to be well taken care of, and this journey is going to be supported.
Yes, and our families know that our staff goes above and beyond for family members, for our hospice patients, and even the family members. There's been times I've driven, families didn't have transportation to come to.
It's okay.
They were so distraught that.
Did they need you to reach out to go to them and sign the paperwork and
I
talk
did.
through
There's
it?
been times I've gone to Logan, Union Furnace. I've driven to Pickerington to have patients' family members sign consents, just so we can get those patients on board.
Yeah, to get them the help they need and the comfort. Yeah, you've gone above and beyond, and that, I feel, trickles down. You do it, others see, and it just, you know, it just happens sometimes, and you just wonder how we've been so blessed to end up in this situation to help people.
Yeah.
Any special story, anything that you want to share? I mean, you've shared enough and you've talked a lot about what you've done, you know, but is there anything that sticks out?
I don't think so. There's so many small stories, I guess. It's hard to pick just one or two that you'd really want to talk about. So I don't think so.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and you know, it shows that what you do is emotional, and I appreciate you every day. You are the first voice, you and your team are the first voice that people hear, And that is definitely a game changer for us. So thank you for that.
Of course, you're welcome.
All right. Well, we have had a great segment. Thank you for watching today. It's been a little bit emotional throughout the segment, but you know what? That's really what Fairhope is about, is giving you the real, just being real about what we do and who we serve. We're thankful for the community, and we're really grateful for you to join us today. So if you have any questions that we can answer regarding Fairhope, please call us at 740-654-7077. Follow us on Facebook. You can join us on fairhopehospice.org. Thank you for joining us on Fairhope Hospice Today. I'm Kristen.
Interface Video presents Fairhope Hospice Today. Brought to you by Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.